Enjoy reading the story on Manga Funny channel.
In the previous episode, we reached the point where Raphael Ludovica was preparing to conduct the third test with Sasha. In this part, we continue to follow along. Both of them rushed into battle without a clear winner, with her being slightly weaker. The sound of clashing swords filled the air as the audience cheered for the match. He remarked that her reflexes were not bad. She fought with all her strength, thinking, how can a person do this? Swinging that huge sword with one hand at such speed, it feels like I'm facing a complete monster. The sword struck the ground, shaking the surroundings and sending dust flying everywhere. She quickly jumped back. As expected, the rumors of him being the Empire's strongest swordsman were not just empty words. If I get even a small scratch from the tip of his sword, I will die. He asked, "What, are you tired?" "Even so, I can't give up. How long has it taken me to get to this point? Anyway, I must pass this test and meet Ethan. That's the only way my sister can be happy." After finishing her thoughts, she lunged forward at breakneck speed and shouted, "Not yet. So, you're confident in your speed, huh? But to challenge a great sword directly with a light blade like that? You're either a fool who gave up, or you really believe in your skills," he said as he swung his sword toward her, and she deftly jumped up. She was at a disadvantage against his strength and was looking for a time that was not beneficial to him to strike. If she lets her stamina run out, she would be defeated. But she was not slow in terms of speed. He was being pushed back by her quick and continuous thrusts. The audience was confused about what was happening. A kid was actually holding his own against the Count? This surprised many and drew their attention to the battle. The question many asked was whether he could defeat the Raphael. At this moment, she wanted to land a powerful blow to end the match, but Raphael blocked her blade with his bare hand. Something no one could do, leaving her stunned. Raphael used the strength of his hand to twist the sword, causing blood to flow from his hand onto the sword, along with her sword flying out of her grasp. She angrily shouted at him, "What is that? Is it really necessary to hit so hard? I'm almost losing my wrist, and even when you're wearing gloves, how can you hold the blade so suddenly? Is all this just to pass a test? This is like the final test of a knight." He stepped forward, lifted her chin with his hand, and said, "Your flaw, if there is one, is that you talk too much. From now on, we will meet a lot. Right, number 87? The two faced each other, eyes wide open. She thought to herself, "What? Meet a lot? Huh, what? Why would I meet him so much?" Romeo approached to ask about Raphael's hand, but he was still fine. But more importantly, he ordered Romeo to keep a close eye on her. At this moment, her teammates came over to pat her head and encourage her, and to their surprise, she was doing very well. If they patted her a bit more, her wig would fall off, haha. At this moment, she dazedly asked the judge if she had passed, and was congratulated for being the first to pass. She asked again if that meant she could finally go meet him? Meet him? "What are you talking about?" the judge replied, puzzled. She yelled, "Huh? So, all the tests up to now were just..." The judge quickly interrupted. "Yes, I will officially announce that. Welcome to the Black Dragon Knights, Sasha." Her face was shocked and confused. "What? Joining the Knights?" So it was really the instinctive test of a knight, and she has passed. Charlotte La Brabant, officially recognized as a member of the Black Dragon Knights. A week later. It has been a week since she accidentally joined the Black Dragon Knights, while trying to meet Ethan for her sister. Early in the morning, while she was still asleep, the trainer entered the Knights' quarters and asked everyone to prepare for rigorous training. This was the worst thing for her, because she had only slept for 4 hours last night. But with that hope, enduring each day could be acceptable. But she received news that Ethan, he was on a mission in another area and would return in the fall. At that moment, she was very anxious because it was still spring now. At that moment, Johan was hiding behind a pillar and called her over. She wanted to know where Ethan was and asked if she could send him a letter. Because he was constantly moving while on his mission, it might be difficult to do so. She walked over to Johan and asked if he had heard the whole story. The fastest way to meet Ethan is for her to stay here. Johan told her, "We are not talking about Ethan right now. If that gets out, Lady Brabant, the first supporter of the princess, has infiltrated the Count's Night Order during a tense political situation, prioritizing the succession of the empire. It would be a disaster." Johan urgently told her it was not too late, and she should get out of here immediately. But she refused to leave until she found Ethan, and to keep it secret for her. Until this moment, she was determined not to leave until she found him. Once she saw Ethan, even if it was just his shadow, she could always join. At this point, the night trainer requested everyone to focus and disseminated information about the training, stating that the ranks of knights were divided into 4 stages. The commander and vice commander are the leaders. High-level knights lead a unit. Mid-level knights are responsible for a team, and regular knights often carry out missions under their command. So you, the newly joined knights, are not yet at a high level. Starting tomorrow, high-level knights will be responsible for your training, remember that. The trainer said. The newly joined knights followed the instructions. Meanwhile, she was thinking about who would be her high-level knight, and this person would determine her life here. Today's training required the knights to jump through a ring of fire. The newcomers gasped in fear, including her. The trainer asked who would volunteer to practice first, but no one dared to go up first. Suddenly, the trainer requested Sasha to go first, but since she had performed well during the entrance test, she couldn't refuse. She didn't want to go up but had to, and tears were easily shed. Standing before the ring of fire, she thought of her sister and tried to encourage herself that it was just a little fire and she could do it. And she motivated herself that she was a genius and could totally do this. She successfully jumped through to the applause of everyone. But while jumping through the fire, she accidentally set her clothes on fire, causing everyone to panic and put it out. At that moment, she wondered if she should continue until the fall, and she hoped that Ethan would return soon. Meanwhile, Raphael still couldn't find out about her background, even though Romeo had searched all the nearby villages, but no one knew Sasha. Raphael thought, not like the assassins before, there was no intent to kill with his sword skill. Romeo thought he might be useful for change, but the truth is nobody knew. He was really suspicious. Raphael requested to keep her close to learn more about her background. We can follow you, number 87, until we discover your true identity.